Welcome to She Means Business, Building and Scaling with Visionary Women, the podcast where bold ideas find success. Hosted by Dr. Myrrha Satow, a successful entrepreneur. Each episode dives into the journeys of trailblazing women who have turned their dreams into thriving businesses. From startups to scaling success, these female founders share their stories, struggles, and strategies to inspire and empower women to chase their own dreams. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your venture to the next level, this podcast is your guide to breaking barriers and redefining leadership. Let's rise together.
Welcome to another episode of She Means Business. I'm here today with Mindy Hoffbauer. She's the founder of Contempo Roast, and I'm so excited to be on the road today and be here in her coffee shop. It's a beautiful family-run coffee shop. They've done an incredible job, and we are enjoying a fine cup of coffee served up from her son Andy today. Can you tell me what I'm drinking? What do I have?
This is a blueberry clementine latte. It has pureed blueberries, organic clementine zest.
It smells so good. I wish you all could smell it. It's amazing. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful latte with a beautiful leaf design made by Andy.
Made by Andy. I could not do this to save my life.
Oh.
And he's practiced quite a bit.
I understand that. He's been in some competitions and all kinds of things. You guys are so involved in the community, and I can't wait to just jump right in and talk about all of that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about you, Mindy, and your background. You're the founder of Contempo Roast. It's a family-owned business. It's also a roastery located right here in Centerville, Ohio, which I think is so cool. And here at Contempo Roast, you and your team are committed to sourcing ethically and sustainably grown coffee beans. And I know you're going to talk about that in a little bit. And you roast them locally, like I said, in small batches right here to ensure quality and freshness.
Absolutely.
And I can guarantee this is as fresh as it gets. It's pretty great. So your mission is to provide a unique coffee experience while supporting sustainable practices and fostering community. Contempo Roast also offers its specialty coffee beans for purchase at the shop, online, and in select local markets right here in town, including Dots Market in Centerville, right?
Yes.
Any others?
We're part of Market Wagon.
Okay.
So for our zone, it goes about an hour north of Dayton, all the way down to northern Kentucky, crosses over into Indiana, and it goes either to Springfield or almost to Springfield.
That's great.
And so people can order our coffee as well as fresh baked things from local bakers, farmers.
That's wonderful. You've got quite a reach now. You guys have really been growing. So talk to us a little bit about, your journey. What initially inspired you and your family to go on this coffee journey?
My son Andy was in college and he was switching majors. Just wasn't really passionate about anything except coffee. He would call home about once a month. He was in Arizona. He'd started a coffee shop. And all I ever heard the conversations were talking about coffee, which is funny because my husband didn't drink coffee and so he didn't really care. And then my husband lost his job and we were mid-50s and trying to figure out what we were going to do with healthcare. I was kind of in transition. I'd had some health challenges and I was kind of coming back trying to figure out what's my next step. Yeah. And so I thought, what if we opened up a coffee shop? I've loved coffee since I was a kid. I've been drinking it since I was a kid. And obviously Andy's passion. And my husband has an MBA. And so he handles all of the business type things, all the back end, the facilities. He was an accountant, so we called him a bean counter.
Well, it's a real team effort. And I think that's something that's really relatable for a lot of our viewers and listeners, is just, the family aspect of it. I think a lot of women start their own businesses. I think sometimes they do it with their family, with other business partners. It's all different and everybody's journey is unique. But I do think the family aspect is very relatable for a lot of people. So talk to us a little bit about your role and, what kind of things that you do here at Contempo Roast.
I started my career as a technical writer and technical editor, and so I've been in communication for quite a while. I also was the social media director for W. Bruce Cameron, who wrote all of the A Dog's Purpose books and movies, and so I kind of got a taste of doing professional social media that way. I handle a lot of the communications. I also handle a lot of the details, making sure everything's organized, making sure that we're working with local bakers and that we don't run out of product. Just a million little details. I focus on spreadsheets quite a bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you talk about details. Mindy's so humble. You guys, like, I've walked all around the shop and you see all her little touches everywhere. And I think one of the things that make women leaders great is because they do pay attention to details. And we were just in the staff break room and she had little sheets printed for all of the staff explaining all the new flavors of the new coffee beans in case they wanted to learn more. So they were able to educate themselves and really be able to share that information and that knowledge with customers. And I thought that was such a nice touch.
I think one of the things that we like doing is we don't expect that people were born knowing about coffee. And so if you don't really know what you want, our baristas are trained to help you figure out what's the best drink for you. And so by knowing about the coffee beans and even the teas that we've introduced, we think that we can help you get the best cup of whatever.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. Are relationships with suppliers and wholesalers important to your business?
Absolutely. Yes. We help each other. Whether the wholesalers are our suppliers for things like our branded cups, our branded merchandise, or whether our wholesalers are our customers. We have a new blend out with Harley Davidson of Xenia. We call it Poor Decisions.
Poor Decisions. I love that.
They have great names for their coffee.
That's great.
Yeah, we just usually can help each other. I especially like partnering with other small business owners who are women. I think we've got a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
More things in common than we don't. So whether I'm partnering with somebody who has the same type of business or somebody that has a completely different business or somebody where we kind of complement each other.
For sure.
We work with a local baker. She also has an Adelaide's blend of our coffee. So we sell each other's products. I always joke that we're each other's biggest customers.
I love that. I think women need other women in their lives who think they're just amazing. And we have to champion each other and lift each other up and support one another, especially in business, because it can be a challenging journey. It really can. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you've faced and maybe some of the more rewarding things that have come across your path in this journey? What have been some of your biggest challenges? What have been some of your biggest rewards?
I think last month our espresso maker died and it took 9 days to fix. And so there were a lot of customers that come in. I think probably our biggest selling item are milk-based drinks, lattes. And so that was a challenge. And so we had to figure out, how are we focusing on something else? My social media post said, try something new.
That's great. That's great.
And for the most part, we did okay. And the espresso maker's back, but some of those things happen and there's nothing you can do about them. You just have to figure out how to adapt.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think flexibility, being able to pivot, being able to adapt, like you said, all of those qualities, I think women have a lot of those qualities naturally, innately, and it helps us in business. And I hear that a lot. And just being able to flex and change and address issues as they come up. And I can't imagine that going out and not knowing what to do, but that's amazing. That's great. Recruiting and screening baristas, you talked about that a little bit earlier. That's got to be an essential part of building your team. What qualities do you look for when you hire, and how do you make sure that your new hires align with your mission and everything that you're doing here at Contempo Roast?
When I worked in software, one of the things that I learned was the more time you put up front in a process, the cheaper it is, the less time intensive. It feels like you're putting too much time up front, but you're preventing problems in the end. And so I think that's the same with getting the right team. And so I spend a great deal of time. I do telephone screening, video screening interviews with almost everybody who applies, and there's usually quite a few. And then I kind of whittle it down from there, and then I bring in maybe one or two people. And my son Andy, who runs the cafe, and I sit down and just have discussions with them. But those telephone interviews really kind of get a handle on people. And we talk about the mission and the values of the company, and I try to figure out, like, what do they want? What is it that we're looking for? I think one of the things that sets us apart is we want this to be a career for people who want to become baristas. So we offer health, dental, vision. We have 401k program that we match. So we really try to offer things that I think most small family coffee shops aren't able to offer.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they really appreciate having all those benefits working here with you.
Well, they're benefits that we wanted, and we're part of the team. We're not the bosses. We're just part of the team. It doesn't work without things that we do. It also doesn't work without our amazing baristas. And I think we have some of the best. Most of the baristas that started with us are still with us about a year and a half later.
I love that. Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. That's a really huge accomplishment in today's market.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
I work with Kat from Adelaide's Wholesome Baked, and we first met her at a farmer's market locally. That was one way that I thought it would be great to market, get people to know us, but not have to pay a lot of marketing fees. And so we're out selling at various farmers markets and events. But I met her and she told us about other events. And then when we were about to go into Hawks Run Market in Morrow, I made sure to bring one of her hand pies when I dropped off our coffee samples. And so she's now in that market. And so we do our best to help each other.
I love that. I love that all those relationships in the community are critical to successful business, for sure, for sure. Now, you've touched on managing social media and communication and how that's critical to your business. How do you approach creating engaging content and building those connections in your online community?
I look at what I find appealing online, and I look to see what other people find appealing. I think about who our target market is. Although I see pretty much all ages here, I just try to connect with people the best I can, have genuine conversations. I don't want it to feel just like it's marketing, and so I always try to mix things up. I'm not going to post everything but drink menus, or I'm not going to just post drinks, or I'm not going to just post things that we're selling.
Okay, that's interesting.
Threads is one of the newer social media platforms, and it's really all about conversation there, and I really like that one. And so I'm giving people advice perhaps on going to their own local coffee shops and making relationships there. They're not specifically benefiting us, but it's not always about that.
Keeping operations running smoothly behind the scenes is really challenging, and it's kind of the heart and soul of any business. And I know, Mindy, that's where you spend a lot of your time here in the coffee shop and even outside of the coffee shop. What systems and tools have been game changers for you in, say, managing inventory, updating your website, handling the POS software, all the things that keep your business just humming?
Communication tools, collaboration tools. So I'm a spreadsheet girl, have been for a long time. And so Google Sheets, the notes on my iPhone, my husband and son and I all share notes. And so when we need something, somebody puts it on there, and then I'm the one who takes care of it. We also have something called Slack, and I'm able to communicate with the baristas that way. So we've all got some place where we're talking about what's going on in the coffee shop, suggestions for drinks, suggestions for potential problems that we might have in the cafe and how we can solve them.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I've seen Slack in the film industry, and I know film industry professionals use it, but I think that would be a very relatable tool across multiple industries, it sounds like.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. I do a lot of working from home. Typically, if I'm coming in here, I'm working on ordering things or communicating with people. And every fourth customer wants to come in and talk with the owner. And so I don't always get things done when I'm here, so I work a lot from home. So I don't always see the baristas.
And I bet you take that time to talk to your customers.
Absolutely do, yes.
I bet you, I can see that. That's amazing. And that's why you're so successful, I think. So balancing all the demands of a coffee shop with customer satisfaction, that can be really challenging. How do you, Mindy, ensure that everything from cups to toilet paper in the bathrooms to those darling little notes you're leaving your staff and informational materials you're leaving for them is all taken care of while you're still focused on growing and expanding your business and getting it out on the shelves and all the local stores and everything you're doing? You've got so many balls in the air.
Yes.
How do you manage all that?
About 6 months in, I was hyper-focused on coffee shop. That's all I thought about. Every moment I was awake, it would wake me up at night. And I realized I had all my eggs in one basket. And that wasn't really healthy for me, and I wasn't probably doing my best work. And so I took a step back and I volunteered. I'm a master gardener now for the county.
Wow.
I joined Optimists. They focus on children's well-being, and so I volunteer with them. I started volunteering for my local genealogical society, and then all my eggs weren't in the same basket. I had other things I was focused on. I still get everything done that I need to for work, but it's not my only focus. That was not healthy for me, and it wasn't productive.
I love that. And you can even feel it here in the energy in the coffee shop. Like, it's busy, it's bustling. We're here actually filming and taping live as Mindy's business is carrying on, and you can hear, the hum of the customers and people coming in and out and folks being taken care of, and it's exciting. But you're keeping every one of those plates in the air, every one of those balls in the air. But you are, but I love that you're not just so focused in on one thing, because it gets you out in the community. It gets you relating to so many folks, and you may have not seen yet, our viewers, but when you come into the coffee shop, Mindy has these beautiful planters in front of the store, and they were given to her by another local business partner. And it's those kinds of connections, those kinds of little touches, and women supporting other women in the community that make it special and make it hum and all those things. So I really appreciate you sharing that part of how you keep it together, because I think that's a very relatable experience for a lot of business owners, to balance all of that.
It's difficult, but you have to find a balance or you're not going to succeed.
I love it. I love it. So Contempo Roast sells its specialty coffee beans online and in select markets. It's not just about the coffee shop, as you said.
Absolutely. We opened the coffee shop actually as a marketing tool.
Wow. Tell us about that.
We would love to sell more beans out the back door than out the front, is what my son always says.
Okay.
And so we have a lovely roaster. It's the greenest roaster on the market right now, where it actually incinerates the smoke before it lets it out into the environment. So it's much better for the environment.
Oh, and I wish I could take you guys into the room where the roaster is, because all the beans are in there, and they're all different flavors, and you can just smell them. It's just amazing.
Yes. And we know either the farmers, or we know the story about the farmers, we know the processors. And so that's part of the sustainability, is we try to have direct trade. It's not just a commodity. We make sure that the farmers are paid not just a living wage, but I believe the figure is 300% more than what they would normally get. Mm-hmm. And so they have enough money to reinvest it into their communities. There is one coffee that we have where all of the farmers are women.
Wow.
And so a lot of that money is being reinvested into their communities, so their schools are being improved, and it's improving the lives of the people there.
What a great story. I didn't know that. That's incredible.
All of the coffees, I think, have some story to them. We are carrying a Mexican geisha right now where the farmer walked in. He is in Ohio during the summer for work, and he and 4 or 5 other farmers in Mexico grow the coffees. So he was sending us pictures, and our little tin of Mexican geisha is now at origin, where the beans are grown.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't speak Spanish, but my son does, and the grower doesn't really speak English, and so it's fun to kind of stand there and listen to the two of them conversing.
I bet it is.
Don't understand a thing they're saying.
Well, at least you have someone who can.
Yes.
All right. Well, running a family business must involve wearing so many hats. What's one behind the scenes aspect of your role that people might not realize is essential to Contempo Roast's success?
I would say being flexible is one of the key things. Obviously, good communication is always important, but I'm doing things that I never expected to do. Before we started, a friend who has a podcast also told me, get Canva. And I said, I don't know what Canva is. And she said, it's going to become your new best friend. That's where you can create graphics. And all of the signage in the shop I have created. All of the graphics for social media I create. We have a partnership with they're almost health insurance. And so every month we send out a bag of coffee to anybody who has a birthday that month. And so I'm always designing new bag labels. We did a fundraiser we partnered with West Carrollton Middle School. And so I needed to develop a label for them that had their school mascot on it.
Wow. Now, did some of your prior experiences or other jobs or other work that you did as a consultant play into that? Like you're just making labels. Did you do that by yourself? How did you know how to do that?
I figured it out.
You figured it out. Look at you.
There are places that will design labels for you. They're cost prohibitive for us at this point.
So you flexed and figured out like a true entrepreneur.
Absolutely. When we put something new on our website, we need photos for it. I'm now taking photos of products.
Many hats.
Many, many hats. What I didn't realize when we ordered our branded travel mugs is that they're etched, and so it's reflective. I didn't really think about, how am I going to photograph reflective coating?
The things you never think about when you start a business.
Yeah, you just need to be flexible.
So what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who may not be in the spotlight, but play a critical role in their business's success? Or maybe who run other family businesses and they have a particular role like you do?
I would say trust yourself. A lot of people have imposter syndrome. It's part of the process. Just keep going. Learn how to talk to yourself in a way that you would talk with a trusted and loved friend. Don't knock yourself down and say nasty things to yourself. I would also say build your team and then trust that they know what they're doing and that you've got the right people in the right place.
I love that.
Thanks.
I think so many people will benefit from just hearing your words. That's just amazing. You're such an inspiration. I think when you help others, all boats rise.
Absolutely.
Don't you?
Absolutely.
I really believe that. And I think when you help others be successful, you become successful too. And I think more and more women like you have so much to offer others through their collaborations and through their networks and the relationships that you build naturally and encouraging one another and lifting them up in their journey.
We love to collaborate with other businesses, and it always feels like a little bit of a bonus when it's a woman-owned small business.
I love it. I love it. So how do people find you, Mindy, if they want to find out more about Contempo Roast or learn more about you and your journey? Where do they find you in your shop?
We are contemporoast.com online. Our handle for Facebook, Instagram, most if not all social media is @Contempo Roast.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. This has been such a joy spending time with you here at Contempo Roast in your beautiful shop.
It's been a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of She Means Business, Building and Scaling with Visionary Women. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, we're glad you joined us, and we hope you'll come back for the next episode of She Means Business, Building and Scaling with Visionary Women. Until next time.